Here we are once again. Great to have you with me. Welcome to another 5-Minute Friday here on Meaningful Money. Sorry about last week, another missed opportunity for a 5-Minute Friday, but keep your questions coming so I can have lots of stuff to talk about. So this week, Mark, a listener and viewer, asks whether it's possible to have too many funds in your portfolio. He also asks about multi-asset off-the-shelf portfolio funds, something I'm always banging on about here, and even asks whether it's worth having more than one of those and whether there are any drawbacks to having more than one. So there's a couple of questions there, so let's put 5 minutes on the clock down here in the bottom left. Say thank you to my friends at 7 Investment Management down here in the bottom right for continuing to sponsor the show, and let's crack on. So, as to whether you can have too many funds in a portfolio, I think the answer to that is how many can you be bothered dealing with? If there is a point at which too many funds becomes a hassle, a headache, and a source of worry to you, then that's the point at which you have too many funds in your portfolio. Now, we're all different, so the answer is going to be different for everybody. I have a client who has well over 100 individual fund and share holdings in his portfolio. He's a retired accountant, so his spreadsheets are beautiful, and when he brings them in to show me, you know that he's easily been able to stay on top of it. But that would drive me crazy, and for me that would be way too many funds to keep on top of. Now, what do I mean by keeping on top of? Well, you need to make sure that the funds you choose are continuing to serve the purposes for which you chose them originally. So yes, are they performing adequately? Are they performing adequately relative to the risk that they have taken? Are they performing relative to their peers in their sectors? That sort of stuff. Now, you don't need to review your funds once a week or anything like that. For me, it's maybe once a quarter at most, usually actually probably once every 6 months, and then a detailed review once a year. But even if once a year the thought of combing through the performance data for 15 funds or 100 funds strikes fear into your heart, then you've got too many. So really, it's a capacity for engagement with your portfolio question and answer, really. How much can you be bothered putting the work in, and how much is too much? But other than that, there's no drawback really to having too many funds. Diversification, spreading your money around, is of course a good thing. I suppose it's worth saying that if you've got a really large portfolio and you have only a very small number of holdings, then maybe tax planning might be more difficult, assuming you're not holding your money inside an ISA or a pension. But maybe if you've got to make a big sale to switch a fund in or out, that might lead to tax implications. But probably there's going to be very few people watching this video or listening to this podcast episode for whom that's going to be a problem. I imagine it's fairly conventional wisdom that if you have a bigger pot of money, you should have it spread across more funds. Mark asks the question, what would the optimum number of funds be? Now, in my Learn How to Invest course, I talk about building an asset allocation and then populating it with tracker funds. And there I talk about for the larger slices of the asset allocation pie, maybe if a slice is 20% of the whole or more, then yeah, maybe you could consider more than one fund, 2 or maybe at the most 3. But for the smaller slices of the asset allocation pie, 1 tracker fund is going to be fine. But you know what, Mark? It's up to you. There is no right way when it comes to investing, just loads of different ways. And let's face it, whether or not you have 1, 2, or 200 funds in your portfolio probably isn't going to make or break your investing success. So what about multi-asset portfolio funds that I'm always talking about here? Should you have more than one of those? Well, the answer is, well, why not if it makes you happy? Here at Jackson's, our clients generally have 2 multi-asset funds as a core of their portfolio. I obviously can't tell you which ones they are because I can't recommend stuff on this show. But suffice it to say that one of them is a pure passive portfolio fund with no human intervention at all. It is daily rebalanced and it's pure passive and hence dirt cheap. The complementary fund that most of our clients have does have some input from a management team. The underlying assets are still passive, but the management team are trying to add value by tilting the portfolio depending on what their view of the world is in the current moment. And so you get 2 approaches to the same idea of multi-asset passive investing. Hopefully those 2 approaches are complementary and will serve our clients well into the future. Certainly, they have done in the past. So again, Mark, none of this will make or break your investing. Do what makes you feel comfortable, and if it makes you feel better to have more than one fund, then fill your boots. But if it gets to the point where you feel like you can't keep on top of it all, then that's too many. Okay, hope you enjoyed that, Mark, and hope that answered your question. Don't forget my Learn How to Invest course, which is a great primer if you're looking to begin as an investor, or maybe take your investing chops a little bit further, perhaps in your ISA or your work pension. It'll help you understand asset allocation, how to choose the funds that are best for you and for your timescales, and will teach you how to review your portfolio to make sure it stays on track. You just need to go to learnhowtoinvest.co.uk and use the coupon code 5MF for 5 Minute Friday, and that'll get you 25 quid off, bringing the cost of the course down to £150. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.